There comes a moment in life when you have to look at yourself and admit that the things making you angry aren't always big battles. They're tiny, meaningless irritations that shouldn't have the power to steer your entire day. The truth is, most people don't lose their peace because of major disasters. They lose it because someone said something stupid, something didn't go their way, or life didn't move at the speed they demanded. And if you keep letting these small things ignite you, you're giving away your power piece by piece without even realizing it. Greatness begins the moment you decide that your emotions will no longer be puppets pulled by every little annoyance around you. You have to understand that anger at small things isn't a problem with the world. It's a signal that your mind is running on autopilot instead of intention. When you start choosing your response instead of reacting out of habit, everything changes. You rise above the noise. You reclaim your strength. You begin to walk with the calm confidence of someone who knows exactly who they are and what they stand for, and no petty distraction can shake that. Anger often disguises itself as strength, but when you look closely, you realize that most of the anger people carry has nothing to do with power and everything to do with misplaced focus. When someone gets irritated over small, insignificant things, it's not a sign that they are strong or commanding. It's a sign that their attention is locked onto the wrong battles. Strength is not about raising your voice, lashing out, or proving a point. Strength is about choosing where your energy goes. When you allow every little inconvenience to trigger you, you're leaking power in every direction without ever noticing how much of yourself you're giving away. Think about how often people get angry at tiny moments, a slow driver, a careless comment, a small mistake, and how those moments take up mental space they never deserved in the first place. That's what misplaced focus does. It pulls you into a storm that didn't even matter. Anger, when rooted in the wrong place, blinds you from what really deserves your attention. Instead of working on your goals, your growth, your peace, you end up wrestling with distractions that hold no real meaning. You start burning energy on things that will not matter tomorrow, next week, or even in the next hour. And that's the trap. Anger tricks you into believing you're doing something, when in reality, you're just exhausting yourself. True strength is quiet, intentional, and controlled. It's the ability to look at something that would normally trigger you and decide that is not worth your focus. It's the ability to say, my energy is valuable, and I'm not wasting it here. When you shift your focus from reacting to choosing, you take your power back from every small annoyance that used to control you. You stop living emotionally broke, constantly spending energy on nonsense, and you start investing that energy into your purpose. When you understand that anger at small things is just a distraction disguised as a reaction, you start seeing how much space you can reclaim in your mind and your day. Because the truth is, the person who can stay calm in the middle of minor chaos is always stronger than the one who explodes over everything. The calm one is focused. The calm one is in control. The calm one is building something bigger than the moment trying to disturb them. Strength isn't loud or aggressive, it's selective. It's knowing what deserves your attention and refusing to give the rest of the world the keys to your emotion. Small triggers only have power over you when your mind is untrained. And this is something people rarely admit to themselves. Most of the anger you feel doesn't come from the situation. It comes from your lack of preparation for the situation. When your mind is untrained, every inconvenience feels like an attack, every delay feels personal, and every disagreement feels like disrespect. You start reacting instead of responding, and each reaction becomes automatic, like a reflex you never took the time to understand or control. That's why tiny things can push you to the edge while bigger challenges sometimes don't bother you at all. One is handled with awareness, the other is handled with habit. Untrained emotions behave like wild horses, easily startled, easily provoked, and always ready to run off in the wrong direction. And if you never learn how to guide them, you end up spending your days chasing feelings that were never worth feeling in the first place. The truth is, the world is full of small triggers, and they're never going away. People will be rude, situations will be inconvenient, and life will unfold in ways that don't match your expectations. You can't control the external world, but you can train your internal world to respond with clarity instead of chaos. The more trained your mind becomes, the less these small triggers affect you. Instead of exploding, you observe. Instead of reacting, you breathe. Instead of letting emotions control the moment, you control the meaning you give to the moment. And when you reach that level of discipline, the things that used to irritate you don't even register anymore. They lose their power because your mind is no longer shaped by impulse. It's shaped by intention. Training your mind isn't about suppressing anger. It's about strengthening awareness. It's about recognizing the space between the trigger and your reaction and choosing what happens in that space. That choice is where real power lies. Once you master that space, you rise above the noise of everyday irritation. You become the kind of person who can stand in the middle of chaos and remain steady, the kind of person who doesn't get pulled into pointless emotional battles. People will notice the difference. They'll see a calmness in you that stands out in a world addicted to overreaction. And that calmness won't come from luck, it will come from training. Because a mind trained to stay centered cannot be shaken by small, insignificant things. And that is where true emotional strength begins. Calm is a superpower because it allows you to rise above the emotional storms that pull most people off course. While others are quick to react, quick to defend, and quick to let their emotions dictate their decisions, a calm person moves differently. They operate from clarity rather than impulse, from intention rather than frustration. Calm doesn't mean you don't feel anything. It means you've learned how to filter what actually deserves your energy. When you stay calm, you give yourself the ability to see the bigger picture instead of getting lost in the moment. You think before you act, you listen before you speak, and you evaluate before you explode. That level of emotional discipline is rare, and that's exactly why it's powerful. Calm people make better decisions because they aren't driven by temporary emotions. They don't let a small inconvenience ruin their day or a careless comment ruin their confidence. They understand that reacting emotionally to every trigger is the fastest way to lose control of your own life. When you allow calmness to guide your responses, you take back the power that anger, stress, and irritation try to steal from you. You start to understand that the world will always throw challenges at you, but your state of mind doesn't have to be one of them. Calm is strength disguised as silence, and in that silence, you gain the ability to choose your battles wisely. Instead of engaging in every argument, you walk away from what isn't worth your peace. Instead of trying to win every moment, you prioritize maintaining your inner balance. And when you do that consistently, something powerful happens. People start respecting you more. Not because you're loud or intimidating, but because you're composed, controlled, and unshakable. Calmness communicates confidence. It tells the world you're not easily manipulated, you're not easily provoked, and you refuse to be dragged down to the level of someone else's chaos. It shows that your emotions are yours alone, and not something the world can play with. When you stay calm, you protect your mental energy and keep your focus sharp. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter, and you start investing that time into growth, improvement, and purpose. The person who can stay calm under pressure is always in a better position than the person who caves under every emotional impulse. Calmness elevates you, strengthens you, and positions you to handle life with wisdom. Not weakness. Your reaction reveals more about your discipline than the situation ever will, because every moment of irritation is really a test of who you are beneath the surface. Anyone can stay composed when life is easy, but the real measure of a person shows up in the heat of inconvenience, frustration, or disrespect. The world might present the trigger, but you're the one who chooses the response, and that choice exposes the level of control you have over yourself. When you react impulsively, it signals that your emotions are the ones leading your life. It shows that outside circumstances still have a grip on your inner peace, and that any small disturbance can bend your state of mind. But when you choose to pause, breathe, and respond with intention, it shows discipline, maturity, and strength. It tells the world, and more importantly, yourself, that you're not moved by every sudden wave because you've learned how to anchor your mind. People often blame the situation for their reactions, but the truth is, the situation is just a mirror. It reflects back to you the level of emotional training you've done. If someone's comment instantly makes you explode, the issue isn't the comment. It's the lack of control over your inner world. If a small inconvenience ruins your day, the problem isn't the inconvenience. It's the space you've allowed irritation to occupy within you. Discipline isn't about perfection, but about awareness. It's about recognizing that you always have a choice, even when emotions are pushing you toward chaos. The more disciplined you become, the more you realize that anger isn't something that happens to you. It's something you allow. And the moment you choose not to allow it, you begin operating from strength instead of weakness. Your reaction becomes a signal to your mind that you are in charge, and that the world doesn't decide your mood or your direction. People who master their reactions gain an undeniable advantage in life. They think clearer, decide better, and handle challenges with a level of grace that others admire but rarely achieve. Their discipline becomes visible not in loud moments, but in the quiet ones, when they choose patience over anger, understanding over assumption, and stability over emotional chaos. By mastering your reaction, you train yourself to rise above pettiness and protect your peace as if it were a treasure, because it is. Every moment you choose discipline over impulse, you strengthen your character, sharpen your mind, and step into a version of yourself that is guided by purpose rather than provocation. Mastering your emotions is the first step to mastering your destiny, because every major breakthrough in life begins with the simple ability to control what happens inside you, even when you can't control what's happening around you. People often think success is about talent, opportunity, or luck, but the truth is, none of those matter if you can't manage your inner world. When your emotions run wild, your decisions become inconsistent, your focus becomes scattered, and your energy gets drained by things that don't deserve it. But when you learn to guide your emotions instead of being guided by them, you instantly rise above the level where most people live. Emotional mastery gives you stability, and stability gives you power. It makes you dependable, driven, and resilient. It allows you to stay committed when others quit and stay focused when others get distracted. Most importantly, it gives you the strength to keep moving forward even when the world tries to pull you backward. When you master your emotions, you stop reacting from fear, anger, and insecurity. You start acting from clarity, confidence, and intention. Instead of letting small things upset you, you see them for what they are: temporary, insignificant, and unworthy of your energy. That shift alone can save you from losing countless hours to frustration and countless opportunities to emotional chaos. Emotional mastery also builds trust, not just from others, but within yourself. You begin to trust your ability to handle pressure, to navigate setbacks, and to make decisions without being controlled by the moment. That trust becomes the foundation for your growth, your discipline, and your dreams. The version of you who controls their emotions is the version of you who doesn't break easily, who doesn't give up quickly, and who doesn't get shaken by minor challenges. That version of you is stronger, sharper, and far more capable of stepping into the life you want. The reality is simple. You cannot build a powerful future with a mind that gets disrupted by small things. The life you want requires emotional strength, and emotional strength comes from training yourself to respond with intention rather than reacting out of habit. When you master that, you unlock a level of success and peace that many people never experience because they never learn how to control the storms within. And when you finally reach that point, you realize that mastering your emotions was never just about staying calm. It was about gaining control over your destiny, your purpose, and the person you are becoming. So if you found value in this message, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.